Welcome everyone, Merry Meet. I'm Cloud, and this is Wheel of Magic. Yay! Alright, so we are very happy as a coven to begin this new little project of ours to challenge ourselves to learn more about paganism, witchcraft, and Wicca, and other avenues underneath that little pagan blanket, if you will. Okay, so we want to start out talking about some issues. We're going to do a Wicca 101 course for those of you who are out there seeking. We're also going to do some herbal videos, some alchemy stuff. We're going to do some spell crafting tutorials, book reviews, and just basically a little blanket of awesomeness for all things pagan. And all of you guys out there that find this video, watch this video, and find us, please feel free to join in the conversation, okay? Because that's really what it's all about. So, as I said before, I'm Cloud, and yeah, let's get moving. You see, the first thing that I want to talk about for this channel is something that really is talked about a lot, but it's still difficult for people to understand. Now, if you are already a practitioner of the craft and you know your stuff and you have been practicing for years, you work in a coven, whatever it is, this probably doesn't pertain to you. But if you're new to the craft, you have to understand something that's been going on with the terminology over the last, I'd say, 10 to 15 years within the pagan community, okay? So, you have the term Wicca. You have the term witchcraft. Then you have the term paganism, okay? These are all interchangeable within the same thing. I'm pagan, I'm a witch, I'm Wiccan. And people just think that they're all the same thing, okay? So when you run into somebody who's not pagan or doesn't follow these beliefs, you tell them you're Wiccan, they think you're a witch. You tell them you're a witch, they think you're a witch. They also think you're a freaking Wiccan. All right? You tell them you're pagan, they don't know what the hell you are, but they know you're a witch. Okay? So here is the thing about that kind of drives me up a wall a little bit, but it's understandable the way things are moving into the modern ages and how everything is grouped together into little boxes and all of that. Okay, so here's what we're looking at. Wicca is a religion, okay? So you have Wicca, the religion, then you have witchcraft, which is the practice of witchcraft, okay? They are two separate things. So, let me expand on that a little bit. Wicca, you have your deities, your gods, your goddesses, you have your patron and matron deities that you follow, and you have your rituals, you have your high priest and your high priestess and your coven, or you could be a solitary practitioner, which in that case, with the Wiccan religion, you're considered a priest or priestess of witchcraft anyway. The term high is only really used for coven purposes and coven hierarchy, but then, there's like an initiated thing, and there's all of that process to Wicca. Whereas witchcraft is the practice and performance of magic. Okay? It is not Wicca. Wicca is the religious aspect of it, and Wicca incorporates witchcraft into its practice of Wicca. Witchcraft can be practiced by anybody. Going out of focus. So, witchcraft, just because you practice witchcraft, does not mean you're Wiccan. There are plenty of witches out there that do not practice Wicca. There are also plenty of Wiccans out there that do not practice witchcraft. I myself identify as Wiccan, but I also practice witchcraft, thus making me a Wiccan and a witch, if that's a term that you want to put on it, which seems to be the term that everybody's going with now, so I'll say yes, I'm a witch. I am also a Wiccan. Does not mean that every Wiccan out there is a witch. And it also does not mean that every witch out there is a Wiccan. Pretty cut and dry, right? And then you have your term paganism, okay? Paganism is a catch-all term for basically any religion that's not part of the Big Four. Okay? The Big Four being Christianity, Judaism, Hinduism, and Islam. Alright? Anything else is considered pagan. Now, why? Well, because that's kind of just the way it's turned out for everybody. Okay? Now, we're going to do another video on the history of things. So, you guys can, by all means, comment below your thoughts on the history on why everything's happened with paganism the way it has. Now, we can blame the Crusades, we can blame this, we can blame that, we can blame the Malthus Malacarta, we can blame all of these things, but when it comes down to it, this is what we're looking at now, okay? And the term paganism, it is a catch-all for all of your belief structures, okay? You have Wicca, you have Strega, you have Germanic witchcraft, you have traditional British witchcraft, you have traditional witchcraft, you got Santeria, you got voodoo, you got hoodoo, you got all sorts of different magical pagan practices out there, and whichever practice that you decide that speaks to you, well, then that's what you should be doing, okay? Being pagan is not about a status. It's not about, I am this. I am a Norse pagan, and I follow Odin only. That's awesome, dude. Yeah. You know? It's not structured the way that your larger religions are. Okay? And that is what I think is honestly the beauty of Wicca, witchcraft, and paganism as a whole. Okay? Because it is your own personal path to walk. And however you see it fit to walk that path, well, then that's correct in your perspective. It may not seem correct in somebody else's perspective. And that's fine. Now, people are going to talk, oh, you're not a real witch. You're not a real witch. You know what? If you study the craft and you practice the craft, and the way that you get things done within the craft works for you, well, then guess what? You're a freaking witch, all right? So, it's not really a big secret, you know? There's solitary practitioners of Wicca out there that have their own way of doing things, and they are completely well within their right to do that. And if they were to come into a coven, such as mine, we would be, you know, we have our traditions on how we do things. But if you have a good idea, this is how we run our coven at least. If there's something that you can bring to the table in the way you like it and we all like it, we'll incorporate that into our tradition because that's what we do. We're an eclectic coven and we're open to ideas. All right? Not all covens work like that though. Okay? But a coven is really no more than a group of individuals walking their own personal paths, getting together to practice witchcraft. There are plenty of covens out there that aren't Wiccan. There are plenty of covens out there that focus on no deity whatsoever. And they just focus on witchcraft for what it is, witchcraft. So, I gotta cut this a little short here because I'm about to start rambling. And trust me, you don't want to get me going rambling. You haven't met me yet, but you will. The process of becoming a witch, you have to understand the differences of what a witch is as opposed to what a Wiccan is. Okay, so one more in closing before we go. I'm just going to go over it one more time, okay? You have Wicca, you have witchcraft, okay? All embraced in paganism. Alright? Witchcraft is the practice and application of witchcraft. It is the use of magic. It is the study. And that is why it is called a practice, because it is something that you are always evolving and learning with. And you have Wicca, which is the religious side of things. It is a religion. Religion, witchcraft. And now Wicca uses witchcraft in its teachings and in its practice. But you don't have to use the witchcraft to be Wiccan. You don't have to be Wiccan to practice witchcraft. They are two separate entities, okay? So I just want to get that clear to everybody out there who may have been a little, misunderstood or had a misunderstanding of the concept. So, moving forward, the next video, we're going to talk about Wicca and what it is that makes Wicca what it is, okay? So, please follow me if you see this and you have something to say, drop it down in the comments below. If you're like, oh, you're a witch and you're going to hell, you can leave that in the comments below too, knock yourself out. I'm perfectly okay, and I know that there's some people on here that aren't going to agree with me, and they're not going to agree with other people in the coven on how things are done or whatever like that. But I will tell you one thing: I will have no witch wars on this channel. Okay, I will block you. Okay, but if you want to bring something constructive to the table, by all means, let's go and let's have a good spirited debate about it. But I will not tolerate witch wars on this channel. Just putting that out there. All right, so next time we're going to begin our Wicca 101 course, and we're going to go over the basics of what Wicca is. All right? Till then, bright blessings and blessed be.